All right, I call the meeting of the S&A Committee to order at 5:05 on April 26th of 2024. In attendance are Joey Bryant, myself, Heather Johnson, Xander Johnson, Mia Young, Greg Schlanger, Aaron Sargent, Alice Williams, Nicholas Vila, Yahir Soleto, sorry for mispronouncing that, and Lola Gallagher. All right. Next up, we've got our agenda approval. So I will entertain motions to approve that.
Yeah, I'll motion to approve this week's agenda on April 12th. April 12th.
Y'all know what comes next.
That's
Is there a second?
I do have a question about the agenda. It says April 12th at the top, but the date's the 26th.
Does it say new business Sarah Spurgeon?
Am I looking at an old one?
I was gonna say the one I'm looking at on the website says April 26th.
Okay.
Yeah, mine says 26 too.
Maybe
I
it's,
was probably looking at an old one then. My bad.
no worries. I can send in the current one. Just give me a moment.
Oh, no, I found it. My bad. I was looking at the wrong document. Yes, I would like to make a motion to approve this wonderful document that Mia has prepared for us.
I mean, we can also reapprove the previous one. All right. Okay, so let's vote.
We need a second.
Xander did.
Oh, did okay.
Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. That passes. And then we're going to move on to the approval of the minutes, which is the next item on our agenda. So entertaining motions of that.
Yeah, I'll motion to approve the minutes. Yep.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, second by Nick. All right, let us vote. And unanimous again. So minutes are also approved. I don't have any reports. Advisors, Joey, Aaron, you guys have anything?
The only thing I have, Jared, is just as a heads up and a reminder as we get closer, we do still have a couple more meetings this year. I have shared with others, and so I'll say it for the next few weeks, just as a preliminary for folks to know and put out there that anyone who's wanting to come in and seek supplemental funding from you all, I've let them know that they need to get that submission in by May 10th. So 2 weeks from today, so that way you all would have time to hear it the next meeting and vote on it at what should be our last meeting. And so for anyone joining in or watching the recording, if they're looking to submit supplemental funding for this quarter, that'll kind of be the deadline to get stuff to you all in a timely manner. So that is all that I have.
Alrighty. ASCW.
At the moment, not too much to report, but we'll have a few events going on next month. Species Day being one of them, and as well as ESC having their graduation. So we'll also be looking for volunteers if you guys are interested. Other than that, no further updates, and I'll yield the rest of my time.
That's good because you had infinity time because we didn't put an upper bound on that. Communications received. Nothing? Okay, that's easy. Opening the floor for the first public comment section. So here's where you talk about anything and everything that may or may not be related to the S&A. So if you'd like to make a public comment, just unmute and go for it. Or you can raise your hand. Either way. All right, so no public comments. So let's move on to new business, which is the base funding allocation usage request for the Sarah Spurgeon Art Gallery. Joey, would you like to describe this?
I mean, sure, and I'll introduce and let those folks who are here kind of present on this. And so I'm going to turn it over to Heather and Greg here in just a moment to kind of fill you all in. But again, this is similar to what we had I think it was fall quarter, whatever quarter it was early with career services, kind of just presenting on the information they're gonna share with you and a request essentially from the committee on a slight usage change from the allocation, but I'm gonna let them provide kind of the information and things, and then happy to provide anything in addition or questions that may come up from anyone. So Heather or Greg, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, we didn't actually plan this, and who would speak, but I will, I don't have all the exact numbers, and maybe Heather does, or we'll have to ask Aaron for that. But basically our ask is that, when we of course received this original funding, we had a different dean in our college. And so the support from the college, the additional support, and it we claim that on the original request for funding, was for programming. And this new dean last year decided that it was better somehow for the budget of the college that it was exactly the same dollar amount, that they would just pay the portion of Heather's salary that's part of S&A and not programming. So it was kind of a swap. Sounded good to me. I didn't really think anything of it until I talked to Joey, and it's like, oh, we have to actually come to you and ask to make that swap. So it was based on a decision our dean made, and so here we are now, and just wanting to move that money for salary to programming based on the loss of programming funds from the college now that's now covering that portion of Heather's salary.
Yeah, so it's $12,000 is what's allocated for this year going towards classified staff salary, which is a sort of an odd portion of my salary, and we don't even know exactly why that's been in the S&A budget historically. It just has always been there, but we'd like to move it over so that we can use that amount for, goods and services or student salaries instead.
Anything else on your side, Aaron?
Nope, I've got the current budget pulled up, and that is the correct amount. 12,721 is what, oh wait. I believe budget that's what we have left. But sorry. I have a dog under me and I just totally got
You were totally good, Aaron.
I mean, we're working at work. You don't have the problems of your animals like distracting you. Anyway, yes, that's correct. Current year, we have a portion of Heather's salary that has been charged to the S&A budget, and they really could use that extra money in their goods and services. It's like.
And I think the only part I'd add for you all, I mean, in here is that, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, out of the three of you who just suck. I mean, there's no change in the dollar figure in terms of what is allocated. This is really more going to the procedure, because as you all remember, we have it set to where any unspent salary savings roll back to the S&A general. And so that's part of why they're coming in, because with that portion of their base funding being allocated towards salary, with the salary already being paid, that's not going there, so it would roll back otherwise. And so this is really just the request from you all to essentially, dollar figure won't change, but essentially to move that into goods and services so it doesn't get swept back, because they do intend to use it. It's just that part has been paid by the dean instead of the goods and services it went towards before. So,
well, that makes sense to me. Does anyone else have questions while we have them here?
Sounds great to me. I'm happy to vote for this.
Yeah, same as well. Makes sense.
All right. I can't make motions, so this is on you guys.
Do we vote
Don't
this
we
week?
need to?
We're gonna vote, or we're gonna table this until next week. I don't know if
Don't-
this is like an immediate thing, because this is base funding. Joey, can I call you in as the parliamentarian?
You can, but I was gonna see what Xander's question was first. That Xander was
I
trying-
had the same question as Alice. Don't we need to wait till next meeting?
I mean, so to answer, I mean, typically that would be our normal protocol is yes. That way, if there's any need for public comment or someone comes in to bring concern, they can share it with you all. You all could decide to vote on it now if someone really wanted to, but yeah, our normal policy and practice would be you'd hear the request and then you all will vote on the piece next week.
Well,
I
then-
don't believe there'll be any
I'd
Yeah.
like to,
stuff rolling back, Aaron, right, in the next week.
I'd like to make a motion to vote on this tonight. I don't see any reason to wait for a public comment. I don't think that's gonna sway the opinion on something so procedural.
I also concur.
I'll second that.
This is good because me concurring didn't matter. All
Excellent.
right. So we'll do hands in favor.
And to be fair, this is in favor of voting on the request tonight.
Yes. Okay, so that is passing. So we will have a vote tonight on this. And
I'd
now
like-
we can have a motion to do that.
I'd like to motion to vote on allowing the allocation change.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Just to be clear here, are you making a motion to do the vote, or are you making a motion to have the vote to do that?
The second one, to have the
Okay.
vote to allow the allocation
Okay.
change.
All right, and you're then making the motion in favor to actually do the allocation change. Okay.
Yes.
Just making sure because sometimes this can come back to bite people.
No, certainly.
Okay, so is there a second for that motion?
Yeah, I'll second.
Great. Let's vote. And that's also passing. So we have made that motion and passed it. Procedural thing done. Yay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Aaron has a question, or were you just
I
waiting?
was just going to ask for my own notes here. This is just for the current year. Is that correct? Or is this for next year as well?
It would be next year as well. It would be moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should have another motion to clarify that this is for 2 years. Just to be on
For
the
the
safe side.
remainder of the base funding cycle.
Yes. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to amend that previous motion to be for the entire base funding cycle that's remaining.
I'll make that motion.
Great. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. And let's do a vote. Okay. Now that we've done the procedure on the procedural vote again.
Don't you miss all of this, Greg?
I'm
This
sorry.
is so fun.
I'm sorry I'm being a little pedantic here, but this
No.
is
You need
know.
to, because it does
Oh.
come up later on, so I appreciate it.
S&A is my middle name. Mhm.
your parents
Yeah,
were
you
very
all are
weird.
set for the remainder of the base funding. So I mean, this year and next year, within that, so.
Okay, that's great. Should we move on to old business, or do we want to have anything on this last little bit? Heather, Greg, anyone else would like to comment on this? You can decline to do so. Okay, great. Moving on to old business, this is the
Thank you.
supplemental funding request for the deliberation and voting of the pulse printing costs for the amount of $5,123.
I think the only thing I'll say for anyone is you'll notice the dollar figure is updated. Given that they put in the initial request that you saw on last week's agenda, Gretchen provided an updated dollar figure in their presentation last week, so that's what's reflected there. Also for anyone watching and looking at the documents.
Okay. So we were either all here or have reviewed this, like myself, from last week. But for those listening to the recording that did not listen to the last one, Joey, do you want to give a short synopsis of this thing? You knew this was coming.
I did. I'll give it. and assume that, yes, you went and watched it, Jared. I know everyone else was here.
Yes.
So the synopsis is really, Pulse is coming in and requesting the $5,123 due to the increases that they had kind of mentioned in their presentation of not only printing costs, but also of minimum wage, that essentially they're currently set to in the year in the negative by about that amount. So really the request is to assist by providing this supplemental funding, which will go directly towards printing costs, but to really allow them to end this fiscal year at a zero balance.
All right. I mean, that makes sense to me. Anyone have any questions about that? Okay, entertaining motions.
Yeah, I'll motion to approve that at the amended amount.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, moving on to the vote. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that passes. Pulse will be very happy. All right, moving on to the second public comment call. So this is your chance to say anything about anything, including what we just did. So yep, go ahead, Aaron.
I just wanted to acknowledge you all again publicly for doing such a great job on this committee. I personally have been on many committees that in a year didn't get as much done as you all accomplish on a daily basis when you're here. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and say thank you publicly.
That's
Aw.
very kind of you.
Thank you, Aaron. I wanted to make a much less sentimental public comment. Today was a terrible day to wear a staff shirt at the circ.
It was a busy day in the CERC, for sure.
Yeah.
One, I want to echo Aaron's sentiments to you all, but also I feel for you, Xander, and the rest of the folks who had staff shirts in the CERC.
I cannot imagine what your day was like wearing that shirt. And I definitely feel your pain, but not quite as much as you probably did.
Lola, do you have a comment?
Yes, I just wanted to encourage all of you, if you're able to attend the candidate forum for ASCW Executive Board. That's next Wednesday at 6 o'clock in Circ 137. There will be an online option as well. I'm just waiting for the link on that. And then the following week, there will be another forum for the Senate candidates. So please encourage people to show up, if at all possible, show up in person, because that really is beneficial for the candidates and also students to hear directly from them.
Great. Any other public comments?
I have two. One is to echo not only for the showing up to those forums, the information, but also to make sure you all are aware and encouraging others that we will have the elections coming up. And so to make sure to get folks to vote, we will remind you all as we get closer. But I know it's a busy time of year. And so as much as we can get people aware and mindful of that. The other one is for all of you to be aware and also to encourage others. You all should have received an email maybe last week or 2 weeks ago. But if I can encourage you all to take a look, it's for the NCHA survey that's gone out. The National College Health Association, I believe, if I remember correctly, I think the survey is available until May 5th or so coming up. So at least another week or two, week and a half. If you all haven't already, I would highly encourage you all to take the time to fill that out. I know there's a lot of information on it, but also to encourage other folks to take it. Really what this is it provides information from your all's perspective on some of the patterns, the habits of things, some of the needs that you all of students have. This survey, the more individuals we have, the more validity there is to the responses. There's a certain threshold that we have to have that really makes it quantitatively, from a research point, valid. But regardless of whether they meet that from the research or not, this gets used to help guide some of the services, some of the programs, some of the priorities that some of the student service areas and student engagement and success focus on. And so if you all could definitely take some time and encourage other folks. It's not just another survey for the sake of it. This does get used and looked at pretty extensively by the division. So I will continue to encourage you all, but please help also spread the message. Again, I know it's a busy time of year, so I know those things get lost in the emails, especially when you open it and you see that there's quite a few questions on there. It can be daunting, but it is absolutely valuable for what we do. So just my little soapbox.
I just want to echo on what Joey just said. I did have one of my students complete the survey within her shift, and it did take her a while. She just went straight through it. It took her 20 minutes. So just keep that in mind, that if you're the type of person that gets burned out very easily with these kind of surveys, maybe set aside that time. And as Joey said, these results are going to be very valuable to the university. We have flyers in the SES office if you guys want to pass them out. These are also on some posters as well if you've seen them around, but I will link it in the minutes. I just highly encourage that you set aside the time to fill out this survey. As Joey says, this is going to be very valuable. It does take some time, but it's better to put this information out there for the university to use instead of holding it in and not getting that information out for us.
Great. I see this is a very busy public comment section, unlike our last one. This is great though. Hey, my cats are fighting. Sorry. Okay, well, I would also like to echo Joey's earlier comment and Aaron's comment that we wouldn't be able to do this without our advisors as well. So it's a team effort, which is great. Alrighty, any other public comments? All right, seeing none, we can move to adjourn.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adjourn this wonderful meeting.
I'll second.
All right, let's vote. And we are out. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.
Bye, thank you.
Oh my gosh, we ended the meeting at 5:27 again.
Bye.
That's kind of funny.
Of course, you notice in the minutes there.
I didn't have to make an edit. I was like, cool.
Nice.
Bye.
Have a
Maybe
great
we can
week,
keep it
y'all.
consistent, you know?